I remember there was a lot of discussion immediately afterwards about why wasn't this out there, what could this do? And I think we actually derailed your talk a little bit because there were a lot of questions immediately.
You know, I got halfway through the talk, or maybe a third of the way through the slides in about 3 hours. And the great thing about the Hertz Retreats was that it's really a conversation. And we had a group of 40 or 50 people in the room, and it was a conversation about what can we do that would make a substantial difference in our climate? What kind of tools do we have accessible to us, and how can we make a significant difference in the carbon budget that we have each year in the atmosphere, in the soils, and in the ocean to restore stability to our planet? And that was a great conversation, and I viewed it as a great opportunity to get feedback on the things we could do that would really make a difference.
So it's been this interesting cross-coast, all over the place kind of collaboration that for some reason it's been able to work across state boundaries. And I think that's very difficult, and it wouldn't have been possible without the Hertz community, where we actually bring people together at these kind of events and have this face-to-face interaction. So one of the first times when we were actually forming the Bio-Char team, we had that conversation I mentioned at Steamboat Springs in Colorado over the summer. And in the fall, we have a West Coast Fellows Retreat. And it so happens that John Frank, who's on the East Coast, was actually visiting on the West Coast at the same time as the retreat. And so I was helping to plan that retreat at the time. I'm like, okay, well, let's each decide to stay around an extra day and let's actually try to do some work together, the three of us on the ground. So we delayed our departure from, where were we at the time? Asilomar, yeah, we were down at Asilomar. And we all delayed our departure, and we set up a tour at the Agricultural Resource Service. And so the three of us went over there, be able to sit down and talk with the USDA and say, hey, is this something you're interested in? What are different test pilots? What are things we can actually do here?
So I was in the audience of a very interesting talk that Brian was giving about his work on reversing coral bleaching. And in that, we were talking about a number of things involved with the carbon cycle. He was covering various subjects. And one of the things that really jumped out was Bio-Char. He was talking about terra preta in the Amazon and the effect that it had on agriculture, and also as a storage mechanism for carbon. And it really got a surprisingly large reaction. I guess I shouldn't say surprisingly large because it's quite fascinating, but it really struck a number of us at that workshop as something which was accessible. It felt like a technology which had benefits outside of simple carbon storage that was not revolutionary in any sense. It's something that had been around for a long time and had proven benefits for agriculture. And so I know the feeling was, as a member of the audience, and seeing that talk, it felt like this was a possibility for something that should be done. It was a technology, it had been proven for millennia to both be efficacious for carbon storage and also for agriculture. And we were all kind of shocked that it wasn't out there and it wasn't being done.